Hello, this is my website on presence and immersion virtual world. Virtual reality causes adverse effects on people. That's my thesis. So the first page is really just an introduction. It gives a little bit about people involved in creating virtual reality first time, such as Evan Sutherfield. There's a little video of him there. But the main the main reason for the first page really is just to illustrate my thesis, and then I go on to the second page here. So the second page is sort of about how people are affected mentally through gaming. So there's a few statistics here about how long people play games for in different countries. A little diagram there illustrating this. There's a few statistics here that sort of talk about how playing violent games can lead to violent behaviour. There's also some theories here that sort of support this. And although this isn't really about my thesis, which is the adverse effects of virtual reality, it does sort of go on to it in the end part of this page. I'm basically talking about how the effects of playing violent games and things like that are going to be enhanced through playing virtual reality games, because the player feels so immersed in the world that they're playing in. Obviously, because it's a three-dimensional world and they've got the goggles on, they actually feel a part of it. There's going to be an increase in these sort of these adverse effects really. So yeah, there's a few theories here that sort of discuss the adverse effects, and then I sort of talk about how virtual reality will enhance these effects because people feel so involved in the game that they're playing. Page 3 is called what the sort of titled graphics have effects on gaming presence. So although obviously one of the highest gamers desire every time a game is released is to have better graphics, and we've come a long way. I mean, there's a few statistics just here which show how far we've come with graphics, and I guess what this page is really about is that because virtual reality is so, I don't know if futuristic is the right word, but it involves the player so much into the world that we can sort of look at the uncanny valley, which is sort of where the uncanny valley becomes involved. I know that we sort of looked at this term briefly throughout the semester, the first semester, but I haven't related to any of the sort of readings we've done. So I guess this page really just talks about the adverse effects of graphics. This video just here sort of shows someone's response to the graphics, where he says that is very creepy. A very short quote from someone in the background of the YouTube video, but it sort of just illustrates that graphical improvements are causing people to sort of feel a sense of discomfort to what they are witnessing. And again, what I'm kind of talking about is how virtual reality will again enhance this because they feel so present in the game. So you'd be looking at an NPC with graphics that almost look lifelike, like this sort of face here, and I'm kind of just talking about how virtual reality is going to make this much worse for people as they sort of fear, in a way, what they're sort of looking at, I guess. And then the fourth page here is Virgins, Accommodation, Conflicts. This page is actually I looked at quite a few sort of psychology references here. It's quite an in-depth sort of page, but basically what it looks at is simply the Virgins, Accommodation, Conflict. So this is sort of eye movements. So the Virgin sort of stands for the eye movement onto a target, for example. So just looking up at like a chair, for example. And then the accommodation part of this is, as explained by Professor Stephen L. Buck, the accommodation part is actually focusing the eye's lens and changing shape to accommodate different distances and create a clear image. So this is kind of, put it in simple terms, really just kind of looking at different things from different distances and the effects it has on the eye. Now, with games with previous consoles like the Xbox 360, PS4, this is does happen, but not too much, because you weren't particularly immersed in the game. again, kind of what I'm sort of leading on to here is that virtual reality is going to cause VAC, which is the term we use just to talk about Vergence accommodation conflict. So basically what I'm talking about is that VAC is going to become heightened. The eyes are going to become much more sort of strained when people are immersed in these virtual reality worlds, because you know, they're looking around as if they're in a realistic sort of situation. So characters they see, environments they notice, anything sort of like that looks so much more realistic. So the body's going to sort of react as if it were a realistic situation. And you know, here there's a few little bits of information that I've extracted from the book that sort of talk about how you know, how the eyes are affected by virtual reality, really. Yeah. And then the final page here is just my annotated bibliography. So I've just sort of divided it up into different pages, page 1, 2, 3 and 4. I've given the reference, and then I've given a little bit of information about why I chose the reference, and a little bit perhaps about the person as well. So yep, that's everything really. Thanks for listening.